Hello, and welcome to the first episode of my new series, The Good, the Bad, and the Poorly Written. My name's Luke, and together we're going to be taking a look at the first feature screenplay I ever wrote. We'll be editing out the bad, rewriting the poorly written, and maybe, just maybe, pointing out a few things that were good. But, let's be honest, it was my first script, so it's probably going to be mostly bad and poorly written. First, a little about the project. The script is titled Crime at 6,200 Feet. It's a neo-noir about a ski bum living in South Lake Tahoe who gets pulled into a criminal world much bigger than he was expecting. I wrote it when I was a ski bum living in South Lake Tahoe. It's based off of a real crime I witnessed where I thought, I could probably investigate this. Or even better, I could write about it. Now, I don't really think the My Life But Cooler is the best place to start, but it is a very natural place for new writers. So if that's you, don't beat yourself up about it. Since writing that first script in Tahoe, I moved to Los Angeles. And over the last 20 years, I've worked on a ton of different projects. Some of which you've probably heard of, and a lot you probably haven't. Along the way, I've seen good writing, bad writing, and a lot of writing which could be much better with just a few notes. All right, so the format of each of these episodes, I'm going to read a bit of the original script, talk about what does or doesn't work, then show you a revised version and talk about why I changed what. If you want to follow along, I've uploaded a side-by-side PDF that you can find in the description down below. All right, let's get into it. Scene 1. Interior, bedroom, evening. A young male, Sam, 22, shaggy brown hair, works on his computer. Music plays from the old 8-track that his computer is plugged into. The room is bare except for a long line of books on the floor, a black enamel bird, and a desk. He is surfing the internet idly, looking at various news articles. His roommate, Hammett, 22, tall and handsome with long blonde hair, enters the room. Quick caveat, there are a lot of typos, spelling mistakes, punctuation problems, etc. throughout the script. I'm probably not going to bring them up unless there's something interesting about the fix. In this case, ideally, not that interesting, so it would be an example of something that I wouldn't bring up. But here I am, bringing it up. Anyhow, all right, let's get into it. In this section, the real problems are related to the character introductions. The beginning of the script is very important because it's the first time a reader or prospective audience will meet your characters. So how you set them up here will color their perception of them for the rest of the film. You can set up your characters to grow, or you can set them up so that they do something later that will surprise the audience. But the introductions have to tell us something about the characters. And since film is a visual medium, you need to show that through action. In the original version, the introduction of the main character, Sam, doesn't have him doing anything of note. Idly surfing the internet isn't a unique character trait, and it doesn't move the plot forward. So what exactly is this introduction doing? It's doing nothing. Next, this section is just not written in a way that makes it easy to visualize. You need to be thinking about the order of your action blocks because the order that you write them is the same way that someone is going to visualize them. You always want to be working in one direction. If you start wide, then you work in. If you start up close, then you work yourself out. You don't want to do a back and forth like we have here. We start with Sam, then we go to what he's hearing, then we go to the details of the room, back to Sam, and then to his roommate. Here's a revised version. Interior, bedroom, evening. The sounds of an old blues album play from an 8-track player hooked into a laptop. On the floor sits Sam, 22, male, with shaggy brown hair, reading a weathered paperback detective novel. On one side of him, a row of books line the wall. On the other, a mattress with a sleeping bag on it. First up, you'll see that the order is changed. Now we start with sounds, then go to Sam, then finally get a description of the room. Start close, and then go wide. We also learn a bit about Sam through his action. So instead of just having a black enamel bird that's our clue he's into old detective stuff, we now have him doing something. He's reading an old detective novel. He's resourceful. He somehow figured out how to hook an 8-track player into a laptop. He likes things from an older age, the blues music and the old detective novel. In fact, we know he only really cares about detective novels because that's the only thing he has in his room. We also learn where he fits in a socioeconomic or class level. He's not sitting on a feathered duvet on some big king-size bed. He's sitting on the floor next to a mattress with a sleeping bag. This dude doesn't even have sheets. His roommate, Hammett, 22, tall and handsome with long blonde hair, enters the room. So this sentence about Hammett entering the room was originally part of the first action block, but I thought it would be important to address separately. Hammett entering the room is a new action. It's unrelated to the description of Sam and what Sam's doing. So it should be in a new action block. One of the things you can do to really improve the read of your scripts is to take different actions like this and separate them into different action blocks. I know that sounds pretty obvious, but you'd be surprised how many writers don't do it. The second problem is the description doesn't really tell us anything about who Hammett is as a character. Yes, there's a physical description, which personally I think is good. I like having a physical description for the characters because even something simple like this, tall, handsome, with long blonde hair, gives me something to visualize, whereas a name is just a name. The problem here is he isn't actually doing anything that tells us about who he is as a character. Here's a revised version. His roommate, Hammett, 22, tall and handsome with long blonde hair, leans into the room. He takes a big bite of Slim Jim. So now we've got him leaning into the room. It's a cool guy move like the Fonz or Tyler Durden. It also shows that he respects Sam's space. The initial version was a little stage play-y. Enter room, stop, deliver line, stop. Here, we've got him doing something more natural. It's how two people who respect each other's space would interact. Now, there's not a lot building up his character here, but having him eat the Slim Jim is a small detail. It shows that he has a bad diet and he can't take the time to prepare actual food. It doesn't tell us a lot about his character, but it tells us more than what was in there before, which was absolutely nothing. So, trending upwards. Let's keep going. Hammett. Sam. Hey, come on. Sam, not looking. Yeah, all right, just a sec. Sam shuts his computer off and grabs his jacket and follows Hammett out of the house. Cut to. All right, the dialogue in this section, not great. The hey, come on doesn't really tell us anything. It's vague, but not mysterious, so it just kind of sucks. Next, Sam not looking. Having him specifically not look when his friend talks makes him feel a little bit like a jerk. He's not doing anything, he's just sitting there looking at the internet, so why not look at his friend? My final problem with this section, and this is super pedantic, but you're going to get a lot of that, is the out of the house. They are in Sam's bedroom. So does the camera follow them from the bedroom out of the house? Is it an entirely new scene that shows them exiting the house? Or can we see the front door from inside of his room? There's actually a really simple solution to this, and I'll show you next. Hammett. Hey, we're late. Sam, still reading. Almost done. Sam finishes the page and hops up. Grabbing his jacket, he follows Hammett out. Cut to. In the new version, Hammett now sets the stage. They've got somewhere to be, and they're late. Sam is still not looking up, but now he's doing something. He's reading a page, so him not looking at his friend is relatable. Finally, I didn't even worry about the logistics of can you see the door, do we follow them? I just got rid of that line. Having them leave the bedroom is a fine place to end the scene. All right, that's it for episode 1. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into character introductions. Next time, we're going to be taking a look at the film's first montage, and oh boy, does it need some work. Until then, be good and write well.